I am doing a series of videos showing past projects to help show where I started and where I graduated from there, and if you follow my channel at all, to know where my embroidery is at now. My name is Lynn Fairchild, and welcome to my channel. I am a member of the SCA, which is the Society for Creative Anachronism. It is a nonprofit international organization that studies and recreates the years 600 to 1600, roughly. And well, with me, I like to specifically focus on the early half of the 16th century in England. And one of the things that I am very passionate about is blackwork embroidery. There are two forms of blackwork embroidery. There is the earlier form, which is the form I focus on, which is a double running stitch. It is a counted stitch. It's also known as Holbein stitch. And it's known as Holbein stitch based on Hans Holbein the Younger, who was a portrait artist for King Henry VIII. King Henry VIII was the famous king from England with 6 wives. Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. And it's known as Holbein stitch because in the last 10 years of Holbein's life, it is estimated that he painted over 150 portraits. And with that, at least 30 of these portraits he painted have blackwork embroidery in them. Other artists from this time in Europe were painting maybe 1 or 2 portraits with blackwork embroidery, but Holbein painted at least 30. I have found either paintings or at least sketches with the blackwork in it. So, like I said, I am very passionate about this, but it's also a form of embroidery I have been doing since I was 16. Before, when I was 16, I had already known how to do cross stitch, and then from cross stitch I took a class on blackwork embroidery and then found that the type of stitch, which is where you have a starting point and you go in, out, in, out, in, out, and because it's double running stitch, then you return and go back the way you came, fill in all the blanks, and so at the end it looks reversible. It is the same on both the front and the back. And I found out from doing cross stitch first and then taking this blackwork class that how I would outline all of my cross stitch paint or cross stitch embroidery while I was doing blackwork and didn't realize I was doing it. But one of my earliest projects that I still happen to have is this partlet. And when I say early, I'm talking early. Because, well, I joined the SCA when I was 16 and I was in high school. I'm a full-time student. I worked part-time. I wasn't. Sometimes people automatically know things. Sometimes they have to learn the hard way. With me, I had to learn things the hard way at times, either just because I couldn't find anyone to help me or I was too shy, embarrassed to ask. Pick a reason. Anyways, so first I didn't have a pattern for a partlet, and instead I found sort of a pattern. If you look, it's kind of a funky shape here, and that's because it came, I think, from a simplicity pattern that I made the pattern for just this part of the partlet. If you don't know 16th century costuming, partlets could go either underneath the kirtle, which is the dress that goes underneath the gown, or a partlet could also go on top. Mainly it just depended on when you were putting it on and what material it was made from. If it was made out of linen, it usually went underneath the kirtle and was used for warmth or also modesty. And if it was made out of something heavier like wool or velvet, then it went on top, again, for modesty or for warmth, or both. So early on, when I first learned blackwork embroidery, I was using cross-stitch fabric with embroidery floss. Well, then I graduated to using linen fabric, but I still had the embroidery floss. Guess what? Embroidery floss is not historically accurate. Silk thread is. But anyways, this is embroidery floss. It still does the job. I was still able to do blackwork. This particular pattern is off of one of Holbein's paintings. The Holbein painting is The Boy with the Marmoset. This ocean wave pattern is also similar to part of the larger pattern that is on Jane Seymour's cuffs. Jane Seymour was the 3rd wife of Henry VIII. Both portraits are by Holbein and both have this ocean wave pattern in it. Now when I flip to the back side here, you can see one of the issues that with using embroidery floss is it twists up on itself and sometimes knots itself, and then you can't get the knot out. So my backside is not nearly as pretty as it would have been had I used silk thread. One of the other reasons why I say that this is a very early project, and please don't judge me on it, except for maybe where I've gone from there, is, well, first of all, the braided cord here that I'm looking at is not a historical pattern whatsoever. This is actually a type of, it's knotting that I would use for a friendship bracelet. And actually I have a video on my channel, and if I remember, I'll post a link below to show how to do that type of knotting. Pretty much you have a knot with the strings, and then you wrap the thread around your thumb and create a knot, and then wrap it again, create a knot, pull it all the way up, and then do that again. And so it can look pretty for a modern friendship bracelet, but it has this little coiled look to it. It's not historically accurate whatsoever. Also, because I made this, I think I was maybe 18 at the time when I made this, no more than 19. And again, either not knowing exactly what I was doing or being afraid to ask. This, if you know linen frays, and this is one of my seams on the inside. And definitely if I were to make this partlet again, in fact, one of my other partlets I have a video on, check out my channel for that. But I don't know if I showed it, but I actually rolled over everything, and I rolled the hems over and stitched it in. So one, it looks neater, but also I don't have to worry about it fraying when I put it in the washing machine to wash. And this is something I would, if I were to wear this right now, I first would want to roll the seams and stitch it in just to prevent that from happening. But the other issue with this partlet, actually let me put this on real quick to show you, is how the blackwork is laid. Partlets at this time in 16th century England, some collars go up, some go out, and some go down. A partlet that I made after this, I made the collar go down, and because it's long and heavy, it just lays down and then it shows off the embroidery. But as you can see, this one, when I put it on, wants to go straight out. The problem is I have the nice side on the underneath side, so when it goes straight out, I am showing off the underneath side, and that's the side that has all of the tail ends of the thread and the knots. So something else that I would do if I were to remake this particular partlet is to flip which side is facing up on the collar. I would want my good side going up on top and the bad side, or the back side, facing downward. So this is another viewpoint of the partlet, and as you can see, this is the underneath side that's sticking up on top, and if your neck is here with your head here, this is what you would see, and that's not what you want people to see. So that is definitely something that I would flip-flop, because the underneath side is actually should be the front side. But if I can zoom in here, you can see I counted every third hole. Again, this pattern is a pattern from Holbein's portrait, The Boy with the Marmoset, and it's just a simple ocean wave pattern. Something else I would do if I were remaking this particular partlet, as you can see, the embroidery, it should go to the edge here, and it does not. And also in pretty much every portrait you will find with embroidery, there is usually some sort of black thread right here along the edge, and I have nothing. So if anything, I would either fold this over and put some embroidery trim here. I would at least take thread and skim along the edge here. I would do something to finish off the edge of this partlet if I were to remake it. But again, this is something just to show you where I started. Yes, like I said, that seam, this is definitely something not embroidery related, but if you are sewing at all and you are sewing with linen, you definitely want to roll your seams, stitch them in, do something. Otherwise, this is going to fray once I put it into the washing machine. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to watch more of my videos, please follow the links on the side of the page. Please select thumbs up that you like the video. It helps with the algorithm. If you have questions or comments, please post them below. And please click subscribe and ring the bell to be updated when new videos come out.